Welcome back to Leadership Blueprints, everybody. I'm your host, BJ Kraemer. And today's guest, I think we're going to have a great conversation around a topic that is near and dear to any leader's heart, which is risk management, uh, specifically focused on cost estimating. And before I introduce my guest, I have a poster in my office, and it's a picture of Walt Disney standing on raw, undeveloped land, and it's the land that would become Disney World down in Orlando. And in the background of this picture is a vision of Magic Kingdom overlaid behind him. And the quote at the bottom, it has Disney walking on the site, and the quote behind it is, "It's kind of fun to do the impossible." And the entrepreneur in me loves the idea and the encouragement of it's kind of fun to do the impossible. The builder, developer, constructor, engineer in me is very familiar with all of the ups and downs of the first Disneyland, and then the creativity of the story behind how they went about executing the development down in Orlando. Here's what the picture doesn't show. Behind every impossible vision, whether it's Disney, a hospital system, a $1 billion campus, there's someone asking a very different question. What is this actually going to cost? And are we thinking about this the right way? Because before there's ever a shovel in the ground, before there's even a final design, someone has to mentally build the project, understand the risk, challenge the assumptions, and translate that vision into reality, whether that's in a budget, whether that's in a pro forma, whether that's in a capital plan. Um, we all know that without money, these projects don't get happen. My guest today spent 40 years doing exactly that job. Brad Tubbs, who I have had the pleasure of knowing for 18 months, shout out to Eric Quinn for our introduction, is the president of Willis Construction Consulting. He's worked on some of the most complex and creative projects in the world, including those themed entertainment projects at Walt Disney and Universal. Um, I'm excited because Brad just recently had a post on LinkedIn that great estimators aren't just number crunchers, they are conceptual builders. They build the project in their mind before it ever exists. And today we're going to unpack what that means. I know that over the last 5 years in particular, the number of risks related to cost, to inflation, to supply chains has, I think, made the need for services and expertise like Brad's that much more important to um, serial builders, developers, institutions, etc. So excited to dig in. Brad Tubbs, welcome to the show.
Thanks, PJ. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me. Your little intro where you're talking about imagination and people have to dream about what a project is going to be and look like. That's exactly what we like to do is we have to imagine that project at really the very earliest stages before engineer drawings are even started, certainly finished.
You're taking into account, I mean, let's use Disney because we're on it, and I know they're a longtime client of yours, and I think one of the most creative, innovative, and uh, probably volume-based serial builders out there in the complex environment. And I don't have a lot of experience building there, but I have a lot of experience enjoying the fruits of your labor. So, how does a project like a new themed park get started?
Well, when we are introduced to that project, a lot of times it is literally what I would call cartoons. They're artist sketches of what a land's going to look like, and they may be, ethereal type watercolors even of what that land is going to be, showing area development and um, dining and entertainment facilities and ride boxes and that are disguised with, you know, rock work or landscape or what have you. And so that's when we're first engage, that's generally what a project looks like. And then there are some um, programmatic spreadsheets really that drive the what the building's going to be, what the construction is going to be.
And they are those um, rough order of magnitude estimates are just round numbers that they're saying we would like to allot this amount of money to this type of a project.
Sure, yes.
And then your job is to sharpen the pencil, take those vision sketches, and start while engineering is going on, while real design work is going on. You start actually trying to estimate what that thing's going to look like.
That's right. We start putting values, quantities to what we can see in the current images and program documents and maybe a program narrative. And then we start asking questions about things that we don't see yet, queue lines. What's the point of sale system going to be? How intensive is the Wi-Fi and the sound system as you walk around in the open area?
You're So you really are trying to figure out what this thing, the details of this to get that budget as tight as possible.
Yeah, we really have to define the big scope, and then each one of our estimators in their own kind of specialized division whittles that down into the small scope. So in the case of sound in the area development, actually determining how many speakers that's going to be and where those speakers run back to and what kind of equipment drives them and what it's connected to.
And all of that is really one to give everybody a comfort level that all risks associated with budget have been at least thought out and that we're clear on what the assumptions are. And some of those assumptions may have risks associated with them. And you can either run those risks and assumptions to ground or you can accept those as round numbers or contingency, etc. Um, we're moving into a day and age where all of the talk in every industry is AI and machine learning are here to take all of our jobs. And cost estimating is one of those areas that I think some people will make the argument you're that's just a bunch of math and AI or machine learning. They're going to be able to take all of the work that you've done over the last 40 years, learn it all, and apply it to every new project. And I can just put into ChatGPT, hey, I'm thinking about building a X square foot theme park or a X square foot hospital. What questions do you have of me to give me the best estimate? What do you say to that challenge or that philosophy that I think we're not there yet, but we're certainly navigating it in the marketplace.
Well, I've said this actually to estimators that if you think that your value as an estimator is counting and measuring what's currently shown on a set of documents and then put an average unit price to those items, um, that machine learning is going to take that away. It is currently today. We have tools that can recognize items on a drawing and put them into a spreadsheet. We currently price them. There are tools out there that price them. The real value of an estimator and kind of what inspired me to write that article, what is the creativity and imagination that you have to have as an estimator to understand what's not currently shown on the documents and apply um, a solution to what's not shown, whether it's a foundation or an electrical power backbone system or a chilled water system. Um, as an estimator, it's your job as a good estimator and one that can be relied on to identify risk. It's your job to see those items that aren't shown and be able to either quantify them or ask a question of the owner and design team about their current thinking.
So you're not, as you're conceptually building, you're actually navigating risks. You're another party at the table navigating what are we missing? And
Yeah, that's
I
right.
think about bidability, constructability, feasibility type reviews. And when you are an expert at that, not only are you able to say, hey, we're missing this, but you're also able to associate a cost with that. And to your point, RS means has been around forever. And if all you
Yeah,
do as an estimator is translate RS means onto you take a set of documents and you take the RS means book and you translate that onto a spreadsheet, you are doing pretty administrative level cost estimating. There's a saying. I know you're an EOS guy. We talked about this a little bit previously. There's a quote, I think it's from Gino Wickman, that the intent of EOS is not to remove the entrepreneurial spirit, entrepreneurial operating system from the visionary or from the creativity from your team, but the intent is to optimize the predictable so you can humanize the exceptional. And I think when I look at I'm a big risk management guy in the army. You couldn't leave on go on leave as an individual without doing an individual risk composite risk management was what we called it. So you had to do a risk assessment on could you get in a car accident? How far is your drive going to be? Are you taking a nap? Are you drinking it runs
right.
you through all of this risk assessment. So and certainly when I was in Iraq leaving the gate, same thing. It's you're back checking, hey, have we thought about everything? And then have I decided to either accept the risk, mitigate the risk, manage the risk, or remove the risk somehow? And to me, whether you're a private corporation, whether you're an entrepreneur or a real estate developer, the place that the most risks exist in construction, you get in the iron triangle and cost schedule, quality, and safety. All four of those come down to money.
Yep.
Can you either buy it down or can you remove that risk? And sometimes you buy it down by an insurance policy, but many or what am I not thinking of? Bonding. But so much of a great construction project is about knowing as much about this as possible so that I can budget for it.
Yeah, that's right. And really and truly, and I come from this from a selfish standpoint, but the estimator is the person in the team who really is most intimate with the project as a whole or as an organism, because we're looking at the electrical systems, we're looking at the foundation or the structural frame of the building, and the mechanical system and how those interact with each other. And most times, before a project starts, there is no one who's really doing all of those things. The experts in the design world are looking at their particular area of expertise and then relying on their colleagues to do their job at the same time. And so my view is the estimator is kind of the gatekeeper of all of those things. And then communicating that risk is huge. Um, I think that as estimators, our math skills are super important, but I learned, probably too late in my career, that communication is just as important, a skill to have as um, your math skills.
I'm excited that you brought this up because one of the part, and I apologize to anybody who doesn't enjoy Disney, but I do. One of the famous stories of Disneyland in California is Walt was the entrepreneurial visionary in Henry Ford's words, I want my catalytic converter. I'll have my catalytic converter. I want my Disneyland. I'll have my Disneyland. And Roy was like, yo, bro, he was the CFO trying to manage the risk.
Right.
We're out over our skis. We're out of money. We're out of time. We need more relationships. And I think, Walt took every one of those as like, all right, just a new obstacle to navigate. But Roy's there
Right.
trying to count the beans and say, hey, what are we
Yeah,
doing
that's
here? What are
exactly
we doing?
right. Yeah. Yep.
So to your point, you never want to be the cost estimator telling everybody, it's easy to tell everybody no, or it's going to be too expensive. Uh, Being the advisor that is helping manage risk, mitigate risk, come up with solutions to get to yes, um, without impacting the vision, without impacting success, I think is the art and science.
Yeah, it really is. And that's why I'm passionate about being integrated into a project at the earliest stages so that you don't come in as a gatekeeper at the end of a phase and say, yeah, those pictures and your vision for a project are all well and good, but it doesn't fit your performa. If the estimator is there early enough in the project and engaged, those conversations happen before you've finished, putting your pencil down on the estimate.
Yeah, I love it. And back to the idea of leadership, I think when you're on that team, you become a key advisor to the leadership team, if not one of the leaders of that construction project. So 40 years in the game, you are both helping lead projects and you're leading your own firm. What are some leadership lessons you've learned along the way? You already hit on communication. What else have you learned?
Yeah, I think the importance of um, trust and the familial aspect, collegial aspect of a team, whether it's a project team or your working team, and just caring about the individual that you're working with and understanding that they're going through things as well. And so they carry their own issues into the day, just like you do. Whether that's great experience or a recent poor experience.
You touched on, trust, familial, collegial. I know your firm, and I know you to be very much a relationship guy. How do you do? You've done this all over the world. Sometimes you're
Mhm.
working on projects and with project teams that you never meet in person. How do you work through building that trust, building that respect, building that relationship um, with a team when you're sometimes remote?
It's been challenged since COVID. We do a lot of Zoom calls, Zoom meetings. You're right, we don't travel to job sites anymore and visit with the design team, the owner team on site. We're on Zoom. It's just being very clear about what you're doing, what you're presenting, and not shying away from the hard truth. If a design is not where it needs to be at this level of the project, saying that, or a portion of design, or if, current commodity pricing is impacting the project budget right now, it's your job as an estimator to say that and then maybe give some context, but just being very clear about what your job is and, you know, kind of what our motto is. We want to make those around us successful. So the clients and the stakeholders that we're working with, we want to remove all the obstacles that we can to make them successful.
What would you say to somebody that is in school right now and contemplating a career in construction? Give me the case for why they should consider cost estimating and what the pathway for them might be.
Yeah, I love this because a good project manager, and I love project managers, they can work on one project, over a 12-month period, an 18-month period, or maybe 3 or 4 years. As an estimator, I get to work through 100 projects in that same time period. And the way our firm is built, we work on very diverse projects. So I might be working on a local county school system, elementary school new build. At the same time, I'm working on an air traffic control tower someplace in the Pacific Rim, uh, or a rocket launch facility, or a roller coaster that's coming to a theme park someplace. So it's diverse projects, and not only the projects are diverse, but those teams are also very diverse. If you're working for a team that is, the project is a Corps of Engineers job, the culture of that is much different than if you are working on a themed environment. And so you become, or you learn how to navigate those situations, the more diversity that you have in the project types. And then I would just also say that if you're going to, if it's a project manager track versus an estimator track, you also get to see all phases of a project very early in your career as an estimator. And the advice I would give them is sure, learn the drawings, learn the process of design and engineering so that you can manage projects well, but also learn to communicate, learn to be able to speak in front of a group, and learn to write well.
Hmm.
Those things are, that's probably not um, solely an estimator's responsibility. Maybe anyone coming out of college, that's the advice I would give them.
Yeah, I agree.
You have to be a salesperson at some point, whether that's selling a product or selling your idea. You need to be able to communicate that idea
We're
well.
selling your expertise. So
Yes,
often, to your point, you're trying to build rapport remote, and you have to convince a team that, hey, I'm bringing subject matter expertise to the table. The only way you're going to do that is selling. I mean, call it whatever you want. It's communication, but it's persuasion.
that's right. That's right. Yep.
All right, along kind of into the rapid fire question, maybe along those lines. I think the best way to become a writer and a communicator is to be a very good reader. Um, any favorite books in your library?
Yeah, I read a lot. I have a lot of favorite books, but if I had to pick my top two, business, it would be Heroic Leadership by Chris Lowney. Um, and the book is about the Jesuits and Ignatius of Loyola and how the Jesuits really spread education around the world. Really powerful. Talks about the four pillars of your life. Love the book. I've read it several times, listened to it several times. Then nonfiction would be The Power of One by Bryce Courtney, and it's about a young boy, PK, who grows up in kind of pre-World War II South Africa. So the apartheid and racism is certainly a backdrop to it. But PK has mentors in his life that he really leans on at different points in his life and in different locations. And then really the backbone of the book is, education plus thinking equals power. And a little boy that was undersized and came from, not the best of background, became educated and used that education with critical thought and really changed the world around him and his world. So those are two of my favorites.
I've never heard that book, Power of One. You did a pretty good job selling it, though.
It's a great book.
If you could have dinner with three people dead or alive, who's on your list?
That are alive. So a lot of people would say Jesus, that um, I'm going to have that opportunity one day, but really my grandparents, both of my grandfathers were huge influences on my life. My mom's dad taught me to love the outdoors and exploring the outdoors. My dad's dad taught me to be disciplined in my work and to respect my work and the people around me. And then third, probably Teddy Roosevelt.
Mm. Um, I don't know if Teddy's connected to a favorite quote. You said a mantra earlier, make those around us successful. Any favorite quotes?
Again, lots of them. The Man in the Arena is a great speech by Teddy Roosevelt, so I rely on that a lot. My favorite quote was from my grandfather, John Tubbs. He said, "There is no problem or challenge that can withstand the application of sustained thinking." Um, and I rely on that a lot of times, going through either specific situational challenges or problems or general challenges or problems.
Can you give me that one again? No problem or challenge that can withstand.
The application of sustained thinking.
I'm writing that one down. I like it.
Actually have used that a couple times, and people have said, I think that was Voltaire or Charlie Munger. And I'm like, no, it was my granddad. And I actually, and I looked it up, and it's not Voltaire or Charlie Munger.
I love it. That's a pretty good one. Um, to anybody that's out there contemplating or convincing themselves, I don't think we need a cost estimator at this point. Help me, help you, help our profession. I have seen too many times when all shits and whoops, we missed that come to roost on a construction project. As we navigate the future of our industry, help me make the case for cost estimating and maybe for people giving you a call. I think that you've seen more project types, more complex. So let's close out with a bit of an elevator pitch for Brad Tubbs, for the cost estimating profession and for WCCI in particular.
Well, first of all, I would say that we're a value add to a project, not a cost add to the project. We can give you case studies on the cost, real hard dollar costs that we've saved projects over the years through just our um, ability to get in and dig into the details and then be um, an unbiased advocate. It, all team members on a project have an agenda and a business plan. Our business plan is to be an advocate for the project and the owner to help them get their project built within a reasonable budget and on time, and so that it can make money or serve the public or provide a service to an industry, whatever the use is for that project. That's our agenda. That's our goal. And to be a valuable team member and an extra set of eyes. And we just happen to have an expert set of eyes when it comes to cost on construction projects. So that would be my elevator pitch.
I love it. Way to close us out. Anything we didn't cover that you want to make sure we touch on, or any um, maybe it is close us out with advice to younger folks that are navigating their career in the construction industry.
Yeah, search out those people in your offices and on job sites that have experience and have been through the wars on project sites and different types of projects, and just listen to them, seek their advice, and filter that into your own new ways, right?
Love it. Brad Tubbs, WCCI, where can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can find us on the internet at willisestimating.com. We're located in Maitland, Florida. And yeah, that's how you can get in touch with us.
Awesome. Brad, thanks so
My
much for,
email.
yeah, I
I
will
was
put
going to
that
give
in the
my
show
email.
notes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
Perfect. Cool. Brad, thanks so much for taking the time with us. Thanks for everything you're doing and thanks for sharing a lot of your expertise and experience with us.
thanks, BJ.
Hey, everybody, if you're enjoying the show, do us a favor, like, subscribe, send it out to somebody in your network that you think might get value out of this, whether that's an owner that is stepping into a new role and contemplating their cost estimating team, or it's a young person in your life that might be considering a career in construction. We appreciate you sharing this podcast. Until next time, have a great week and a great weekend.